Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special 2018 San Diego Comic-Con edition of the DC TV Report.
Please be assured we were nowhere near San Diego.
I am Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
Yeah. So Comic-Con happened this week, and we decided rather than just blowing up a giant episode, we'll split it up. That way we could focus specifically on all the stuff that happened this week in San Diego and out.
There are a lot of. I tell you what, a lot of stuff happened at Comic-Con. We had a lot of news that came out beforehand. We have some news that really I don't think was related to Comic-Con at all. But we have a heaping pile of news for everybody today.
Yeah. So let's dive right in. Let's jump right in. Sara, you're steering the ship here. Where are we starting?
All right. Well, let's start with one of the big announcements this week, and that is a new show that is joining the Arrowverse on the CW, Batwoman. It is in development at the CW. It shouldn't come as a huge surprise, and yet it's such a nice breaking news story to be talking about here. We talked about Batwoman before. She's going to be part of the crossover that happens every year on the CW with the Arrowverse shows. And apparently, I'm assuming the powers that be were so excited by this that they wanted to spin her off into her own show that's going to open up the Batman mythos.
Yeah, Gotham City we're actually going to see Gotham City in the Arrowverse. There have been hints to it. There have been a couple of times where they've poked where, Bruce Wayne has been mentioned on episodes of Arrow, and I think they've been to Bloodhaven once or twice. But we're actually going to get to see Gotham City and get to interact with some of Gotham's characters. Batwoman, for those of you who may not know, is Kate Kane. In the comics, she's Bruce Wayne's cousin, who is Jewish and a lesbian who is kicked out of the army and decided to become a hero.
As you do.
Yeah. So.
And the other news that came about in relation to this is the CW is hoping to cast an actress who is out LGBTQ and is of any ethnicity. So they are trying to, I think, get that diversity thing right. That if you're going to have someone representing a group on screen, they'd really like that character to be played by someone with the same or similar background. So they are, I'm excited. I'm really excited to hear who they come up with for casting, because the description we have heard of her, the confidence, the together in a fight, is lethal fair to say, Ed?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see who they cast. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see just visually what they do, because this is a character who has had some great storylines, but is really known for the artwork that's come. You've had some incredible artists work on it, such as J.H. Williams III. I'm really interested to see how they play up the visual components of that character.
Right. And we've talked about this before, that she has that distinct pale skin, red hair look. And that's really kind of what makes Batwoman.
Yeah. I mean, just that visual sense with the black and red costume. It's very simple and elegant, and just some gorgeous stuff that they do that they do in that artwork. I'm looking forward to it, and this is really exciting. And I guess we're gonna get a taste in December, and I guess they're shooting for like fall of 2019. Is that the
yes, I believe so. Not soon enough, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
One bit of trepidation. I guess not everybody is excited about the news, because some folks are reading it. I shouldn't say that, but some folks are reading it as they're gearing up for Arrow to end its run, and that Batwoman would be the show then that replaces it, in part because the CW doesn't want to oversaturate its lineup with Berlanti DC superhero shows, and in part because they both occupy a similarly sort of tragic backstory, darker tone. And so it might be a natural successor to Green Arrow. So I think some people looked at this news as not great for Arrow's long-term future. That is not part of the CW's official announcement. That's speculation only. But I don't know. Do you think where there's smoke, there's fire there?
Well, I mean, I can't say they're not wrong. I mean, if you were looking to replace Arrow, this would be a good place to start, especially since you're diving into a whole new world that hasn't been explored, in terms of Gotham. And Arrow, I mean, it's been solid all the way through, but it has been lagging at times.
Well, and I would say lagging both in ratings and in storytelling on occasion.
Yeah, like I'm especially the way Stephen Amell's been talking. It seems like they're looking for a landing spot for that series. It's often weird when I feel like a lot of times if a series knows it's going to end, they'll say that up front. And it'll be interesting if they announce that this is the final season after the show premieres. If they're going to wait that long, or if maybe they're just going to test the ratings to see, if the drop is steep enough that maybe they'll give it a go another season. But I mean, and also the CW has to want to have other shows on that network.
I would think. Well, on the other hand, they're going to keep Supernatural going until the heat death of the universe, so maybe not.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's got to be room for stuff other than superheroes.
Oh, sure.
Although, like, Vampire Diaries is ended, right? Or is ending?
It ended, and the spin-off series, The Originals, is ending, and I just saw a headline about a spin-off coming from that, I think. So it's ended, but it's sort of still there.
Yeah, and you have Jane the Virgin and Crazy Ex-Girlfriend coming to an
end,
too.
They're both ending, yeah, and iZombie.
So, I mean, they're making room. I mean, there is room for other stuff now. So maybe and with the Sunday programming, could you imagine that being like the Sunday lineup, Supergirl followed by Batwoman?
Oh, don't tease. That sounds amazing.
So yeah, I mean, this is speculation, but it's something to think about.
Yeah. So it's exciting news, exciting top to bottom, all the way around. Batwoman, winging its way toward us.
Yeah. All right. What else we got?
Okay, so let's keep going in the CW universe, starting with Arrow, which we were just talking about. Some casting news and then some kind of story premiere type news. The Longbow Hunters, 3 Longbow Hunters have been cast. Red Dart, described as a ruthless and precise killer, will be played by Holly Alyssa from the show Whistler.
Okay.
And have you ever heard of Whistler?
No.
I don't know what that is. As I say that, maybe it's a movie. I don't know. I don't usually get stumped by television. So
I used to tell strangers that I won a state whistling contest in 3rd grade.
Did you?
No.
Oh, wait, is there such a contest?
I don't believe New York State holds whistling contests, at least not for 3rd graders.
Whistling is a 6th grader's area. That's the 6th grade domain.
But it was the kind of thing that was so specific that people would believe me, just because why would anyone make that up?
Oh yeah, I would never question that.
Yeah, it would usually be like, stop whistling. It's like, I won a contest in 3rd grade. And like,
my sister was named the fastest crawling baby in the state. They had a baby crawling contest at the state fair, and she won. And she won because my mom didn't feed her and then held the bottle at the end of the finish line. And my sister crawled to it. So mild child neglect will get you trophies.
Was this the Illinois or the Indiana State Fair?
This is Illinois.
Illinois. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. You're welcome, Laura. I just aired your business. Sorry.
Because she remembers that. She.
Okay. I assume she tells her therapist about it all the time. My mom didn't feed me. I had to participate in a diaper. It was awful. Okay. Anyway, so that's one Longbow Hunter. Next, we have Kodiak, a beast of a man with brute force, played by Michael Johnson from Van Helsing on Sci-Fi, which I tried the pilot of and checked out of immediately.
You too?
And then, Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was. I mean, maybe it got better. And then Silencer, a master of stealth, played by Miranda Edwards of The Magicians, which is fantastic, and everybody should watch it immediately. So those are going to be our 3 longbow hunters. That's 2 women and 1 man. Ed, what was the composition in the comic? Do you remember?
I believe it was 3 guys.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay, so then transitioning into the Comic-Con panel, Stephen Amell on the panel said Oliver does something reprehensible in the premiere, something that could make the audience hate him. And he's really excited about it from a storytelling perspective. He said that the fight scene that's going to be in the premiere is his 3rd favorite one, only after the fight scene in the pilot and his fight with Ra's al Ghul on top of the mountain.
Okay.
At the end of season 3? Anyway. And then we are going to see a couple of villains returning because they are inmates at Slabside Maximum Security, including Bronze Tiger, Derek Sampson, and Danny Brickwell.
I'm especially excited for Bronze Tiger because it's Michael Jai White, and I was afraid that he died when they killed off most of the Suicide Squad in earlier in the series, because they were told you can't have the Suicide Squad anymore.
But apparently he's just been kicking it Slabside.
Yeah. So more Michael Jai White. I'm all up for that.
Well, cool. Mm-hmm. So the CW panels included trailers, just teasing the upcoming season. Some of them have new stuff. Some of them had old stuff. Arrow had some pretty good new stuff. And specifically, the really good is, well, I shouldn't say really good for Oliver. It's really good for us. We see what kind of time he's having at Slabside, and it's not great. His face gets increasingly battered and bruised as this trailer goes on, as he's fighting inmates who he helped put away, basically, into this maximum security prison. It looks like we are going to get a rather epic-looking shower fight, which I gotta say, we did not have enough salmon ladder last season, but if they're going to make up for it with shower scene fights, I'll allow it. We also see that he's reading the Count of Monte Cristo in prison. The whole thing is great.
Oh, wow. That does now you're laying it on thick. Now
I know, it's subtle, Ed. It's subtle.
First off, he put himself there. All right.
This is true.
Okay.
So the prison stuff looks like it's going to be brutal, interesting, not great for Oliver, like I said. And if you put that together with the best fight scene the 3rd best fight he's ever filmed, and Oliver doing something reprehensible in the premiere, I'm wondering if he actually does kill some dudes in the I don't know. We'll see. The stuff I didn't love as much. We see Laurel acting as the DA.
Why?
She didn't go to law school. She read a book, kind of. Yeah. Also, she's talking about no tolerance for vigilantes. Wasn't Laurel outed as a vigilante? Okay, I'm not going to get angry. It was just a trailer. We don't know what's going to happen. But there's good old Diaz there talking about how he wants to take away everything Oliver holds dear. Again, some more. Back for season.
All right.
Yep. The good, though, the rest of the team trying to hold it together, trying to keep everybody safe, trying to give the city hope, vowing to fight. That stuff looked really, really good. And it looks like we're going to have somebody in the Arrow suit trying to keep things going. So all things considered, looks really good.
Yay.
Yeah. That's it for Arrow, I think. You want to move on?
Yeah, go for it.
To the Flash. We have an announcement of the big bad next season, and that will be the villain Cicada, a blue-collar worker who wants to exterminate all the metas. He will be played by Chris Klein.
So I guess he's not growing out the beard? Because Cicada's got this long, Gandalf-like beard.
Ooh.
Like a pointy beard, though. He's got a snow cone coming out of his chin. So like the Green Arrow goatee type? No, but 6 inches pointy? Longer.
Oh,
literally, he took one of the party hats you wear when you're 3. He just put one of those on his chin, put cotton
Are you
balls
saying
around it.
Chris Klein, boyish star of American Pie and Election, could not grow a comically pointy Gandalf beard? Are you challenging Chris Klein's manhood? Follicular manhood?
I'm not saying he can't, but I just doubt whether or not he will.
Well, as I understand it, Cicada in the comics is a cult leader.
Yeah.
Which would explain the whack beard. And here it looks like it's not going to be the same thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm sure he'll still. I'm sure he'll still develop a following.
Yeah. So that's gonna be Chris Klein. I feel like we haven't heard much from him I haven't in the last 2 decades. So good for you, Chris Klein.
Good, yeah.
And we also apparently are going to have some fairly major deaths this season that we should be bracing for. The showrunners would, and this is talking about panels from SDCC, showrunners would love to introduce younger versions of the Rogues Gallery. They didn't say specifically who. I am assuming Captain Cold would be pretty high up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They also said if the budget holds out toward the back half of the season, they'd like to do a King Shark Gorilla Grodd team up.
Oh, you can't promise that. You can't tease that and not
and not give it to us.
Yeah. I mean, geez. Wow, Gorilla Grodd and King Shark. Damn.
I hope they run at Barry from opposite sides and everybody does the flying punch leap, all three. I don't ask for much. I do ask for that. So, if they could just take it easy on the catering so we could get that would be awesome.
I feel like you would have to call in Gerard Butler to handle those two together.
Because this is Sparta?
Yeah, I mean, like that's the only guy who could. I'm gonna punch a shark and a gorilla at the same time. I think most people were disappointed in Geostorm because it didn't feature Gerard Butler actually punching a storm.
Jackie Chan is very, very disappointed that you didn't think of him immediately because he could punch anything. Jason Statham will leap into the air and kick him in the face. There's a lot of people we could have. All right, anyway. Some behind the cameras stuff. Tom Cavanaugh will direct episode 100. Episode 100 will also be the mid-season finale. That's going to be episode 8. And then episode 9 will be the big crossover event. Oh. Which is, the crossover is coming an episode later than usual. Is that right?
Yeah, usually they do it the week before the finale, the mid-season breaks. So
yeah, so apparently they're going to mid-season break it and then everybody come together for the crossover somehow. Let's see. Danielle Panabaker will also direct an episode, which is cool. And we will learn how Caitlin got her Killer Frost powers this coming season. And finally, on the news for Flash, the first 2 episode titles of the next season are Nora and Blocked.
Okay.
And the trailer that they showed at Comic-Con was a lot of angst about Nora. Why is she here? We need to send her back. She's not supposed to be in this time. We do see a little bit of Wally. So Wally's going to be around to say goodbye for the time being. And Ed, are you ready?
What's that?
Barry is getting his suit ring.
The collapsible suit that just fits inside of a ring, and he just opens it up and all of a sudden it just kind of comes out and forms around him. Oh my god, Cisco finally figured it out.
Wow. Yeah. It's a ring. We haven't seen it in action, but it looks very much like that is precisely what's going to happen. So apparently they got jealous that Supergirl had all the good rings this past season and we're like, let's get in on that ring action.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that should be fun. Speaking of Supergirl, shall we?
Yeah, let's move right on.
Okay. So some casting news. Supergirl has cast an actress to play the first transgender superhero that the CW is going to be featuring, and that will be Nicole Maines as Niall Nall, who will be Dreamer, will be her superheroic alter ego. Nicole is a transgender actress herself, so they made sure that the actress playing the character represents who the character is going to be. So that's going to be very cool. Other casting: April Parker Jones has been cast as Colonel Haley, a strict military woman, and David Ahala will play Manchester Black, who is from the comics. Yes,
yes, he is.
Yes.
He's a villain from Britain.
Yes, and he is, and one of his credits is Doctor Who, which is I feel like your British pedigree doesn't get much better than that. So
yeah.
We also, this is a casting news that I think slipped by us last week, but the new villain for Supergirl season 4 is going to be Sam Witwer playing Agent Liberty, who is a staunch anti-alien activist. Sam Witwer, because this show loves to do those Easter egg casts, he was Doomsday on Smallville.
Okay.
So, if you're keeping score, that's the 11 millionth Smallville person to be on Supergirl in a way that I applaud and love. Please don't think I'm being critical of that. I know Sam Witwer from Being Human, the American version, and as the soldier in that one flashback episode of The Walking Dead back when it was still really good.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But that's fun. I like Sam Witwer a lot. That's exciting casting for me.
Okay. Just one quick thing back. I do want to mention. You mentioned they cast Dreamer. I was reading up on the article that is it Niall Nall? Was that the character's name?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's actually an ancestor of Nora Nall, who's a member of the Legion of Superheroes named Dream Girl. So there's a connection there, and it'll be interesting to see if they bring the Legion back this season, if that's one of the ways they establish a connection. So that's another thing to look out for.
You just never know. Sometimes when they reimagine a character, are they taking that original character and just saying this is our spin, or are they doing the ancestor relation? Yeah. Mm-hmm. They play so fast and loose, and not just Supergirl, but all the shows with adaptations. You just never know. So that'll be fun to find out.
Yeah.
The trailer has Agent Liberty doing a voiceover talking about how aliens come to Earth and take our jobs and endanger our way of life, and we have to root them out. It's kind of like listening to a comment section of a news article come to life, honestly. So Supergirl is obviously going hard into that allegory again next season. Agent Liberty has a super creepy mask, kind of a white, I don't know, it made me unsettled to look upon it. A lot of the footage looked like it was from last season. We didn't have a lot of new stuff. It looks like Alex has a new haircut, though, and I quite like that. And more importantly, we see someone in a new super suit with the Supergirl logo. It is hard to tell if that is Kara Supergirl, if that is going to be Dark Supergirl, why and how. Maybe that's a brainy thing. Maybe that's a Siberia Dark Supergirl thing. Let's find out. So that looks good and interesting and a lot of fun.
Cool. Okay, that's it for Supergirl's news, right?
That's it. And then moving on. Speaking of a lot of fun, Ed, Legends of Tomorrow. Oh, this next season looks like so much fun. Oh my gosh. Okay. So first, the bad news, the Legends are not going to participate in the crossover this coming year. And the cast said at Comic-Con that it's because it's just such a different show from Arrow, from Flash, from Supergirl. They're not bound by time and space anymore, so it's just a little bit harder to do. Plus, of course, the logistics are rough. So
yeah, maybe
doing fewer show crossovers is going to be better. But the good news is some casting news, some character news. I think we mentioned weeks and weeks ago that Legends was casting a young woman who loves YA fantasy novels. That actress is Ramona Young from Santa Clarita Diet. She'll be playing Alaska Yu. And suddenly that casting and that character makes sense because we now know that the Legends are going to be fighting the mythological creatures. So bring somebody on board who's like, oh, actually, in The Hobbit, they had to fight a blah, blah, blah. So the other bit of casting, Nate's dad will be played by Tom Wilson. You may know Tom Wilson as
Biff Tannen.
Yeah, so that's a lot of fun. And what's going to be funny, I think, is that apparently Nate's dad is beloved by everybody. And I don't know, I'm just programmed to have this knee-jerk reaction to him. I mean, it's Biff, man. He's either a bully or a buffoon. So, well, but no, that's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah, ever since he made his first his first fortune at that horse race all those years ago, 1958.
Yeah. Is this where I confess that I've actually never seen Back to the Future Part 3?
Really?
I know. I don't know how it slipped by me. It's inexcusable, and I need to sit down and watch it someday.
So you've never seen Tom Wilson as Mud Dog Tannen?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
I kind of, it's one of those things I've always kind of thought I'd really enjoy.
I mean,
and so
I want to fly to Chicago. I want to fly to Illinois right now and just sit down and say, okay, we need to block off the next 6 or 7 hours, and just because you have to watch 1 and 2 first before you move into 3.
Okay. Well, I was just saying we're putting in like fancy surround sound speakers. Let's wait till it's done, and then I'll extend the official invitation. Anytime, open ended. Let's slam these 3.
Oh, don't do that. You don't know how close Bill Sweeney was to me invading his apartment, making him watch Mission Impossible movies all week.
That okay, I'll come your direction for that. That sounds like fun too.
All right.
So basically we're talking about country hopping movie festivals. You're all invited. It's going to be great.
Yeah. This is why God made franchises.
Oh, totally. Oh, and while we're confessing, I have never seen any Godfather movies. I'm not proud of it. It just happened. So that's a thing that probably should also be rectified while we're doing this. If anybody, maybe Agent Palmer would like to host us.
Well, okay.
For a Godfather marathon.
Yeah, I mean, not to seem crass or inappropriate, but you are a woman, so I can allow that waiver. if
gangster movies aren't super my jam, so it's not that surprising.
Yeah, but if
it's just like if you tell me you haven't seen While You Were Sleeping, I'd be horrified, but I wouldn't. I would understand.
Yeah, and I have. I actually.
Okay, and I kind of figured you actually had, because you have a sister and a mother.
Yeah, I actually
and a heart.
I kind of prefer You've Got Mail. But either way, I'm always a sucker for Tom Hanks. We're off topic here.
We are. Okay, fine. This is Biff's fault. I blame Biff. Okay, so Maisie Richardson Sellers, who is not returning as her previous character, is returning as an all-new character named Charlie, who's a trickster who is a bit of a conundrum for the Legends because they're not sure if she's a friend or a foe. This is exciting, and here's something you have not heard me say before. I can't wait to see how Nate responds to this. Yeah, Nate. Because, of course, he and Amaya were in love. And so now they're going to have some slippery character on board the Wave Rider who looks like his lost love but might not be trustworthy. That is delicious, delicious stuff, and I'm going to eat it up.
See, this makes me...
I hope they don't whiff.
This makes me feel a lot better, because I remember, like the finale ended, and then they announced that she was going to be a regular next season. And I went, like, what are we doing here? And what?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like with Arrow, with Roy coming back. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't have as good an explanation for Roy coming back yet as I have for Maisie Richardson Seller coming back. So, yeah, Charlie, kind of a trickster. Cool. Not coming back officially.
I'm sorry.
Arthur Darvill. Go ahead.
Real quick, because we mentioned Thomas F. Wilson was going to be on the show. I don't know if we mentioned who he was playing. I just want to confirm he's playing Nate's dad, right?
Oh, yeah, he is playing Nate's dad. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to cover that.
Yeah. You just wanted to bring up Nate again. I know. I see it. All right, so not returning officially per Comic-Con. Arthur Darvill as Rip is not coming back. Captain Cold for sure is not coming back. And Jax/Firestorm for sure not coming back. We kind of knew all of those things, but still. However, before you despair too much, Bebo will return for Season 4.
Bebo!
Bebo loves.
Were they giving away Bebo dolls at Comic-Con? Please say yes.
I don't know. If they weren't, that's a big missed opportunity. And I have not had any time to look at cosplay yet, but I sincerely hope we have all of it. That we have like sexy Bebo, we have oversized Bebo, we have a kid dressed as Bebo, we have somehow like gender flip Bebo, if that's even a thing. I just hope all the Bebo cosplay is out there.
Why can't Bebo...
If you find it, tweet me, please.
Why can't Bebo just have a boyfriend or a girlfriend? Why do we have to do the gender flipping? Why can't we just say there are other species of Bebo, people in the Bebo species who are other genders? Just saying.
Why do you have to politicize Bebo, Ed? Jeez.
I'm not politicizing. Oh my god. I give up. Could you check your mic quick? I think it sounds like you're peaking.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
I'm way too amused by Vivo.
Okay.
Okay, so finishing up on Legends. The trailer that they showed at Comic-Con really looks fantastic. It's all new stuff. It's the Legends fighting, they come across unicorns, and Mick wants to fight a dragon, and we see they go to Woodstock, they bump into Jimi Hendrix, we have shirtless Constantine. It looks delightful from top to bottom.
Cool. Yeah,
really exciting. That's it for Legends. Any other thoughts there?
No, I think we covered it.
Okay. Alrighty. So moving on to Black Lightning, the last of our CW shows. Jordan Calloway, who plays Khalil, will be a regular next season. At the panel, they said that the suitcase that Tobias Whale had at the end of last season is going to be back. It's going to play into the future of Freeland. The trailer, unfortunately, didn't have any new footage that I saw, and that's disappointing. It would have been fun to see some upcoming action. But just a couple little fun things. Lego has introduced a Black Lightning figure, so that's kind of helping to make it sort of canon as part of the Lego universe and keeping things present in the public. And looking back at last season, one thing that they said at the panel was one of the scenes they had trouble getting approval for. They actually had to go all the way to the FCC to get approval to show it, was the arrest and the strip search scene when Jefferson is arrested. But they actually had to appeal that all the way up to the FCC to get permission to be quite as graphic as they were, which I thought was kind of interesting. But like I said, nothing new on the footage front, unfortunately. But Black Lightning is coming back for season 2.
All right. Cool.
All right. Nothing on any of the other CW shows. Nothing on iZombie. Nothing on.
I think that's the only other CW show. Yeah.
Is that the other? Well, yeah, I ran out of steam there. Okay, yeah, no, that's it. All right. So moving on to other shows. Preacher, which is halfway through its first season, aired a trailer for the rest of the season to come, and it looks great. It looks funny and weird and violent and all those things that we like. At the panel, they confirmed they really are conforming a little bit more to what was in the comic. They talked about how Tulip was really becoming her own superheroine, which I think you and I agree with based on our conversation in part 1 of this week's podcast. And that the trio's friendship is really built on second chances and sort of making amends and doing things right when you get a second chance to do that. So the trailer itself, we see the Allfather for the first time. We see that nest of vampires that Cass is going to fall in with. We see a tap dancing Humperdew. It looks like there's going to be an epic Jesse elevator fight. It really looks fantastic. I will say it does not look super, super true to the comic from what I saw. So they said it was staying a little more true. I didn't really see that, but it looks like a ton of fun. So at this point, I don't even care because the season's been so great.
Yeah, quality wins out.
Exactly. Yeah, riff in the tone of the books. As long as you're giving me something entertaining, I'm there.
Yeah. All
right. Lucifer had no official panel because it was canceled and then renewed in such a time that they weren't able to book anything for, actual SDCC. But Tom Ellis was there, hitting up the media rounds. He promises the show is going to pick up right where it left off, so we're not going to pick up 6 months later with everybody already having hashed out, oh, he is the devil. He said that Lucifer does not know that he's got his devil face back, so when he turns and faces Chloe, he thinks he's got his handsome Tom face on, but in fact it is his devil face. He and Dan will be at odds. I believe we've talked about that in the past. He is glad to only have 10 episodes because you don't have to stretch things out over 22. And he's promised that we might just get a look at his bare bum because Netflix.
I believe I might have predicted this when they announced they were going to Netflix. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice to see. Nice to see that's going to come to fruition. Mm-hmm.
As always, Tom Ellis is just so grateful to the fans, the fan support, the enthusiasm, all of that. So he's been consistently, I think, crediting the fan outpouring that got the show saved. So always nice to hear from Tom Ellis. Let's see. Krypton. We have confirmation that season 2 will introduce Lobo, Nightwing, and Flamebird, but no lanterns. And here's where I say, Ed, say things about that, please.
Okay, so Lobo, also known as the Last Zarnian, is a motorcycle driving. I guess he drinks beer, but just real like hotshot metalhead. Basically an intergalactic biker, who likes blowing stuff up. He's a bit of a mercenary. Created by Keith Giffen in the early 80s. He's been in and out. There's actually, if you want, my favorite version of Lobo, which is probably a very tame version of him, is the episode he did in Superman, the animated series in the mid-90s, where he was voiced by Brad Garrett of Everybody Loves Raymond fame.
He's got a good voice.
Yeah. I remember in that episode he talks about, the reason that he's the last Zarnian is because he blew up the planet as part of a science project in high school. Gave himself an A.
Oops.
He's really just kind of an outlandish brute. Imagine like very, very similar to the kind of personality that our friend Uncle Jay over the Wicked Theory podcast kind of puts out. He doesn't take crap from anybody. He's his own man. So if he's going to end up on Krypton, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Is he too fun? I feel like Krypton was a lot of things, but fun.
Well, you know what? If he's going to make it fun, I don't see how that's a bad thing.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Yeah. It's like Star Trek The Next Generation. Yeah. We're saying important things here, but every once in a while, Q's going to come in and liven things up a bit. I'd be looking. I am looking forward to that. And I hope they go with the grunge, guy with the giant, helmet hair from the 80s, and not the sleek, smoothed down, pretty boy look that they gave him in the New 52. Although knowing Krypton, that's probably what they'll do.
I was going to say everybody on Krypton is really pretty.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Like what's funny is like that's actually the part that Negan from Walking Dead.
Jeffrey Dean
Morgan. Yeah, like if you see him, like that's that's the part he should be. Like Jason Momoa actually looks just like Lobo. Just give him like concrete gray skin and bloodshot red eyes, and you're there.
I'm sorry, you just mentioned Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Jason Momoa in 10 seconds. I'm gonna need a second. Okay.
So yeah, and Nightwing and Flamebird. To clarify, this is not Nightwing, who's Dick Grayson, Robin, all grown up. Nightwing and Flamebird are creation from the 50s, and basically when Superman and Jimmy Olsen would go to visit the bottled city of Kandor, which I'm sure you remember. Right, Sarah?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Vividly.
when they go visit the bottled city of Kandor in the 50s, because it's a red sun in the bottle, Superman wouldn't have any powers. So, partly to amuse themselves, and also because they felt this city needs a vigilante protector. They decided to basically do the Batman and Robin thing, and dress up in masks and costumes and go fight crime as Nightwing and Flamebird.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yeah. So that was so that was the Kryptonian version of Batman and Robin. Basically we're going to be getting vigilantes showing up in Kandor or on Krypton next season.
Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Lobo, but no lanterns.
No.
Sorry.
No.
I assume, I mean, the little that I know about it, they'd be pretty expensive to animate, I would think, wouldn't they?
Yes, they would be.
Okay.
They would be.
So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Right.
but like, you know, I mean, did they say anything about Thanagarians? Or
Not
are we?
that I recall.
Okay, all right. We're not going to get any more Rhinians showing up. Although if Adam Strange is there, the Rhinians are going to get there eventually. He's from the planet.
I really
Ran.
feel like the Krypton part of every episode is Ed just talks to himself. And I just say, yeah, I don't know. Huh.
All right.
No, it's awesome. I'm so grateful you know what's going on with that.
Was there any other news out of Krypton?
No, that was it. I don't think they had a big presence at Comic-Con from what I saw, so just kind of a quiet week this week.
And I just want to clarify, none of the mid-season shows have given release dates yet, right?
Not that I saw, no.
Okay. Those usually don't come, though aren't probably going to come until like late fall or winter anyway, so.
You know, from what I understand, nobody really watches, I shouldn't say nobody, but TV watching in the summer really slumps. So people just aren't in that mindset. You know, you're vacationing, you're outside, you're spending time with your family and with ice cream. I don't know what people do over the summer. So, you know, TV isn't on a lot of people's radar. So I suspect as we start getting back to business of school and things, we'll start seeing those announcements come.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Anyway. Okay. Gotham. Gotham, again, not a lot of Comic-Con presence, but we do have titles for the first 4 episodes of the final season. And the premiere will be Year Zero, then Trespassers, Penguin, Our Hero, and Ruin.
Okay. All right.
So Year Zero is pretty obviously...
Yeah, that's a reference to the Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo arc from a few years ago, which originally told Batman's origin. But the basic idea behind that is that something happens for a whole year. The Riddler basically puts Gotham into flux. And I think that's what they're going to be doing to continue the No Man's Land storyline for that happened in the finale last season.
And Penguin, Our Hero, whatever direction they take that in, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've kind of done that like when he gets elected mayor or something, so I'm sure he's going to do something to make him look like the hero, and then by the end of the episode, he'll screw it up.
Yes, that... What? And filming on that final season actually starts this week. So as you're listening to this, they are probably back at work.
Yay! I should start strolling the harbor a few blocks away from me. That's where you find a lot of the good Gotham vehicles.
Yeah, why are you not posting like behind the scene pics all the time?
Well, because I have to.
You should be the number one set stalker.
Because I have to work during the day. You know,
work.
We didn't have that job, man. But you know, if I didn't need money and material things, the things I could do.
If capitalism wasn't such a drag, man, that's.
It was the lifeblood of everything, man. We could get things done. Cool. Okay. All right. All
right. Then a couple of one last update before we get into the last update, if that makes sense. Why The Last Man? We have one more bit of casting news that has come in, and that is Amber Tamblyn will play the president's daughter, Mariette Callows, in Why The Last Man. My memory is that there is no president's daughter in the book. I could be wrong. Let me know if I am. But I am really excited because Amber Tamblyn I have loved since Joan of Arcadia. And she brings intelligence and wit to any performance, and I am very excited to see what she does on Why the Last Man.
Yeah. I would not be surprised. Something tells me that she may end up being like the big bad for season 1.
Well, the character description says her father, I assume the president's I assume the president's a man, listen to me, has been grooming her to be a political animal as well. So if you have somebody with that kind of political cunning, I could see that being a character who could cause problems in that universe. So Amber Tamblyn is the big bad. Oh my God.
So let's see how Diane Lane can handle her. Let's see.
Oh, Diane Lane can handle anything. Okay, so shifting then finally into DC Universe news. Are you ready?
Yes.
Ed, we have some information about DC Universe.
All right, break it down for me.
Get your wallet out, because we have financial information. If you would like to subscribe to the DC Universe, it will be $7.99 a month, or you can get a full year of access for $74.99.
That's a good deal. I think that's a good deal.
I mean, it's comparable to Hulu. It's comparable to Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
It's I will be super curious to see how many people add one more streaming service. They have a lot of value added. They have the comics, the new shows, the archives of older shows. I'll be curious how it does. But it seems reasonable. That's what, $2 Starbucks a month?
Yeah. I like the idea of an annual subscription. For me, especially because you're saving money that way in the long run. And there was an extra deal that they added on top of it, which will probably be over by the time that this podcast drops. But if you'd signed up this Comic-Con weekend, you got an extra. You've paid the $75 for the yearly subscription. You get an extra 3 months free. So that was $74.99 for 15 months. I think that's.
And because Ed and I are good and faithful recappers of DC television, we have already signed up because we knew we'd want to bring all this to you.
Yeah. Yes. It's all for you, Damien.
I'm doing it all for you, Damien.
Yeah.
I think we just called our listeners the devil. That's actually what happened just then.
Well, yeah, it's Satan on Preacher this week. We're talking about Lucifer.
It's on theme.
yeah, but that's why I did it. I did it for you. That's exactly why I did it. I did it for you guys.
Yeah. You have no interest personally, you Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined, in DC content.
I did it all for you guys. Okay.
Anyway, so we do have a little bit of news then about some individual shows on the DC Universe, starting with Titans has dropped its official trailer. Ed, what did you think?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So this is a very gritty show. This is it's a show about teenagers, and it's for mature audiences only. And Robin looks straight into camera with blood all over his face and says, F Batman? Except he didn't say fudge.
Yeah. Was that what you were expecting? Based on what you know of the characters, the comics, the history?
No. I mean, that would make sense for Jason Todd, but Dick's always been an upbeat guy, to the point where it's almost like he gets frustrated that Bruce is so dark and grim, has such a grim way of looking at things. He's that's what makes him stand out, is that he's an optimist.
Okay, I want you to consider this. Look at the Batmans we've been given over the last decade. That is optimistic.
Okay. Well, I mean, I just I mean, I never think of Dick Grayson as being brooding or just feeling sorrowful, kind of the way Bruce Wayne kind of lumbers around a lot around Wayne Manor in the Batcave. Bruce is actually, that's Dick is kind of the thing that keeps Bruce away from fully giving into the darkness, and that's why at a certain point he kind of keeps Batman away from the brink. And he kind of goes off on his own in the comics, not because he gets into a fight with Batman at all. It's just kind of because he eventually figures, well, I'm kind of grown up and I want to do my own thing. But it looks like they're taking a different tact here, which is, certainly their prerogative. They
yeah. As with most things, I'm really trying not to prejudge, because I assume that DC wants to make sure they kick off their service with the best possible content. So I trust that they know what they're doing. I thought Raven's effects at the end of the trailer looked very cool.
Yes.
I was very grateful that I have a TV that does different shades of black because that's dark. like the lighting is just dark.
Yeah, it was very dark. You could barely make out Hawk and Dove. The Starfire and the Beast Boy effects look incomplete, but we got to see a little bit of the characters. Really, you got to learn more about the only characters you really got to learn about were Dick Grayson and Raven. But
it's bold to start with a tragic circus accident. I know that's his background, but
yeah, and but you know what? I'm beating it up right now, but I did enjoy it. And I can't wait to see more. I want this to be on the air now. Please.
I am super curious. They've been hyping this forever. We've been following its every move. I really would like to see the finished product.
Yeah, and I mean, and those are the questions that we haven't learned yet. They still haven't announced an exact launch date for the service. And
what's the rush?
And they haven't said. Did they announce whether or not like the show's Titans is gonna drop all at once, or if they're gonna parse it out week to week?
That they haven't announced either that I saw.
Because that is going to be a big question for this podcast is how do we cover that? Do we try to do a whole season at once, or do we do them one at a time, week by week?
I think we pound the coffee and we do it.
It's going to be a lot of recaps.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, we'll talk about that with our executive producer, Bill Sweeney, get his thoughts on it. This probably isn't a discussion we should be having on the actual air, but a little peek behind the curtain, everybody.
It's glamorous back here. It's glamorous. It's not two folding chairs and a naked light bulb hanging in between them. No, it's super nice.
Okay.
Okay, so that's Titans.
Okay.
Swamp Thing, just a little bit of news about Swamp Thing, and that is that it is not going to be connected to the other DC Universe shows, Titans and Doom Patrol. So it's not going to have a shared universe. It's going to be its own thing, which is, I don't know, the little that I know about it, not terribly surprising because it sounds really, really different.
Yes, it does. It does. And, that doesn't mean that Swamp Thing can't have his own shared universe that includes people like Zatanna and Constantine. But I think that makes sense because those properties are so different. That to try to do a Titan Swamp Thing crossover would be a weird stretch.
Although that might be kind of fun to watch them try it, but that sounds like it's not gonna happen. So, and then the last news officially of this special SDCC DC TV update is the DC Universe is developing one more live action show, and that will be Stargirl.
Yay, Stargirl! Caitlin Whitmore.
High schooler.
Yes. She's a high schooler who has a magic staff that emits solar radiation. Kind of a combination between Starman and the Star-Spangled Kid. This is a character that was created by Jeff Johns, who I believe is executive producing this. In I think around 1998, 99, 2000, somewhere around there. And the big background about this is a very personal project for Jeff Johns because he based the character on his little sister who died tragically in the TWA Flight 800 explosion.
Which is terribly sad, but what a lovely tribute. I mean, just that's really nice.
Yes, and she's been one of the brightest, most energetic characters in the DCU. She had a series called Stars and Stripe, where she had a robot sidekick. That lasted about, I think, 12 issues, and then she became a regular member of the Justice Society of America, which is a legacy version of DC's older heroes and their grandkids. And she was a integral member of that team for about a decade afterwards. So, this is really exciting to see. I think it's a definitely kind of I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit more uplifting than what we're seeing with Titans. And there's a lot of cool places that they could go with this character. And it's just like anytime you think that you're tapped out with the DCU with all those characters, there's always something more different and exciting that you could pull out of there. And this is just proof of that. And if you'd asked me, was I pining for a Stargirl series? Probably not, but now that it's coming, I am so excited. I think this is a really cool idea.
And it sounds like it's going to offer some interesting tonal variety. If Titans is gritty dark, if Swamp Thing is gothic horror romance, this sounds, from what I've read and what you've said, a little bouncier, a little sunnier. And that, I just think it's nice to have to paint with those different palettes.
Yeah. I think I remember reading somewhere that he wants this to have kind of more like a Buffy the Vampire Slayer vibe, but with superpowers. And yeah, I could definitely see that. I think that would be really cool.
So I am excited that we have announced 2 new shows in this special podcast, and both of them are going to be fronted by women.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
All right. So that's it. And any big takeaways, anything particularly you think and I don't know, I don't want to say themes that we've learned, but any Comic-Con tips that
I will, I would say to both of those questions, thematically, it seems like inclusion, diversity, and just opening up the tent to include different perspectives, voices, people, and fans seems to be what a lot of the big entertainment companies are focusing on, and I think that is awesome. And personally, for me, as the lady sitting in the middle of the country, not at Comic-Con, I think it was a lot easier to find all of these big trailers and things. They got those online quickly. I was really impressed that all I had to do was search for, one trailer, and it just sort of was like, okay, you just watched Arrow. Do you want to see Supergirl? Do you want to see Flash? Do you want to see Legends? And they did a nice job, I think, of feeding content to people like us who are following from a distance. So Comic-Con, it feels like it's been harder in years past to find things, but this year I was able to hit the Shazam preview immediately, So I'm pleased that they're helping those of us who are glad not to be walking miles and standing in line forever to go into Hall H. I'm doing this from my couch. Thank you.
I second that opinion. Yeah. Well, thanks everybody. Hope you enjoyed this Comic-Con special edition. I'll just do a quick rundown of what we usually say. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare, TBD.
I'm at Sara Netzley, SARANETZLEY.
And be sure to follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and check out our sister shows, the Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!